holidays. I hope you and your family have an incredibly healthy, happy vacation time, and you manage to get some squash in, and your 2012 is the best year you have ever had. You know, I was thinking about this season of giving with regards to squash players, and I thought about it in terms of being able to use the time well for your game, as well as fix up your social calendar. You must have some friends who've been bugging you to play squash with them, but you know they're not very good, and so you kind of have avoided it. Well, this is the time to really make amends. Get them on the court, but practice something specific. First of all, you're going to practice winning, but practice something specific that you want to get better. You don't have to be a genius out there. Keep the rallies going. Fix up your social calendar, but at the same time, pay attention. Because every time you're playing squash, you want to be paying attention. Otherwise, you're practicing not paying attention. So there's a thought for the season. All right? Hats off to you all. Have a fantastic 2012, and let's get squashing. I wanted to talk about the serve and the return of serve. So many people have talked about it in the past, and it's come up in questions, and truthfully most of the game is set up through that serve and return of serve. And when I'm watching people play, the serve has a lot of intention to it, and I want to ask you specifically, what are you trying to do? In my world, what I'm trying to do is serve the ball so that I can hit the next ball from in front of my opponent. I want to be in front of them. Now, also in my world, it's a two-way street. So if I'm having to return serve, I always want to make sure that I'm taking them to the back of the court so that I can get in front. Now, the problem with the return of serve is so often we've had trouble. That's why when we've just lost a point, so now we're concerned. And there's always two people that we're listening to. There's one, which is your little angel that's sitting on your left shoulder. And the other one is the devil who's sitting on your right shoulder. The problem is with the angel, she's telling you to calm down, and she's telling you to relax, and she's telling you to hit the ball low to high to the back of the court, and everything will be fine. The devil, on the other hand, is saying, no, whack it, you can win this point, go for it now. Usually, when you listen to the devil, what's going to happen is you're going to leave the ball short, and your opponent is going to come in and cut it off. Problems, problems, problems. Now you're on the run, and you could be on the run for 4 or 5 more shots before you actually get the opportunity to hit the ball to the back of the court. Listening to the angel, you might get there quicker. Remember, your intention when you're serving is to play the next ball from in front of your opponent. And equally, your intention when you're returning serve is to make sure that you do not let the server play that ball from in front of you. You've got to get them to the back. There's my thought. I'll leave you to try it out and tell me what you think. Now, I wanted to talk to you again, and you know I'm always about reading and personal development. I wanted to talk to you about a book that I found very, very useful. It's called Celebrating Failure by Ralph Heath. And when he talks in this book, he's talking about the power of taking risks, making mistakes, and thinking big. Now, when I think about that in terms of squash, at some point or another, you have to take your own game in your own hands, and sometimes you literally have to win it as opposed to not lose it. If you're trying to win the game, there are times when you're going to have to take risks. As long as they're calculated, that's okay. You know, I don't believe there's anybody who really learns that much from winning. I do think that most people learn a lot from losing. And if you look at your own game, I know what I was like. Every time I won a match, and it was a big one, I would go and celebrate. So I'd be surrounded by people, and we'd all be having a good fun time. When I lost a match, that was, and it was a big one, that was when I thought about it. I really thought about what was going on. Why did I lose it? I came away thinking that I was actually going to change certain things in my game. I was going to improve it. And that was my failure. My failure was the thing that was causing me to learn more. So when you go and look at all athletes, most of them will tell you, if you want to get good, fail massively. Fail massively, but learn. And this is my motto. I don't think it matters how many mistakes you make. Just don't keep making the same mistake again and again and again. That's not learning. But make a mistake, learn from it, and move on. And this book will give you some real good hints as to how to do that. I hope you enjoy reading it. Let me know what you think. And now it's time for Ask Barb. And the question of the day came in from Ralph, and he said, are there optimum times to eat when you're training? This is a really, really important question, and I think so many squash players neglect it. And the time that it really shows up for them is in a tournament. If you're training hard and you've spent maybe an hour to an hour and a half on court, you've expended a huge amount of energy. You have a 15-minute, let me repeat that, a 15-minute to replenish yourself. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about taking 85% complex carbs, which is something like an orange juice, and 15% protein, which is a scoop of protein powder, and dumping that in your system. What you do after that, really, I don't mind. But the reality is, if you do not do that in the first 15 minutes after you've finished a very tough workout or a hard match, you will only recover to 80% the next day. And that's 80% of your glycogen stores in your muscles. That's the food that muscles use to work. If you do that again and have another hard match, then you're only recovering 80% of 80%. And you can obviously compound that over a Friday night, Saturday and Sunday tournament. All you have to do is carry with you a scoop of protein powder, dry, put it in a cup or a dry container, go to the bar, get yourself an orange juice, dump it in there, mix it around, slurp it down, and then if you choose to do anything else, drink, whatever you want to do, you'll still find your body has enough sustenance to recover. There's my tip. Think about it, but you've got 15 minutes after a hard workout. Do it regularly. This is my thought. If you're going to work that hard, why don't you want to get all the gains you can out of it? And if you're playing a tournament, let's make sure you recover. Anyway, this is Barb Cooper from HelpMySquashGame.com. Hope you have a fantastic time. See you on the next show.